All right, well, good evening, guys. My name is Benjamin Hadfield. I am going to be your open water instructor today and taking you through the adventure of becoming open water divers. This is our class schedule that we'll be putting together. Tonight's going to be classroom only. So we're going to go through classrooms number 1 and 2 today. It'll be a long class, but we'll talk a lot of fun. We'll have some fun as we go through this process. I'll tell you a lot of stories. I'll show you a lot of pictures, and hopefully you'll learn something as well past the stories and pictures that I share. The other question for you is does everybody have a mask, snorkel, and fins? Who does not have a mask, snorkel, and fins? You too? Perfect. So at one of our breaks, we're going to have 2 breaks today. We will go in the showroom and I will help you select masks, snorkels, and fins. We've got a good selection of that as well. They are required for the class as personal items, so not a big deal. The class schedule is going to be, so tomorrow night and next Wednesday, we're going to do a pool and a classroom, and I'm going to break you guys into groups. We're going to have Group A is going to go to the pool, Group B is going to be in the classroom, and at some point, we're going to switch. And we're going to do that on both the tomorrow night as well as on the 11th. And then we're going to use next Thursday as our makeup day, where you guys will have the opportunity to spend more time in the pool. It's if we need to talk about stuff, we will. If we don't, we'll just spend time in the pool. My goal is to get you guys in a good diving position with the ability to hover. As I go through things, by the way, you guys will see me use my hands quite a bit. It's not because I'm Italian and part of the mafia. It is because we, as underwater divers, we learn to use our hands in order to communicate. Unfortunately, talking underwater doesn't work real well. I've tried that, and you just get a mouthful of water. So it doesn't work real well. So as we go through, you'll hear me and see me use visual signs that correlate with different things. The first one I'd like you guys to teach you today is going to be the okay. If I do the okay, it is a question. It is always a question. So, and I'll stand and I'll wait for you until, there you go, perfect. And I will wait. I'm a very patient person. Now, please don't take offense. My dive guides, my assistant instructors, and myself will ask you this question a lot. It's not because we're trying to offend you, bug you, or don't trust that you are the most amazing mermaid, merman, titan on the planet. I don't know why there's 2 names for guys as mermaids and only 1 for women, but that's how it is. But it's because we're checking on you. We want to make sure that you're okay. We want the confidence to know that you guys are doing okay. So please don't be offended if I give you the okay. I'm just asking a question overall. So this is the classroom schedule. I encourage you to take it down. Brian, would you mind grabbing in that box and making sure that everybody has a notepad? I will put that back up for you as well. There we go. All righty. So my qualifications to teach this is I'm an assistant instructor trainer. My wife, who is running around here, is far better than I am as an instructor, and fantastic and amazing in my dive buddy in life as well as diving as well. And so you'll see my wife running around. You'll also see some other odd faces running around. We got Brian, we got Derek, we got Chase running around over here. They are all dive guide candidates, so they are my low-paid tank monkeys. Just kidding, guys. They are learning to be dive guides, dive masters, assistant instructors on their own. You'll see another bigger guy with beard. He is my assistant as a dive master. His name is Josh. He will be helping me through the class. David is back in the other room as well. He's our assistant instructor today. And tomorrow night you should see Aaron, who is another assistant instructor. I'm very proud that I've been able to take all these guys up from basic all the way to where they're currently at. This is Josh. Josh, say hi. Hi. There we go. Josh is fantastic, and he's got really good trim and really looks good in the water. So if you see other guys kind of floating around, you kind of wonder what they're doing, most likely they're on our mentorship program. Next slide, please. There we go. So as you guys go through this class, I want you to think about something. Where do I want to go with diving? And the easy answer is the simple one. What do I want to get out of this? I want to see fish. I need a little bit more thought process in that. I want to be in the ocean and blow bubbles. I want you to think a little deeper though, because the ocean is a big place. And I like to think of where we're living at is we're on planet water, not planet Earth. Because if you have 2 armies facing each other, and one of them has 66% of the army, and one of them has 44% of the army, the one with 66% usually wins. Well, good news is 3/4 of the planet is water. So we're planet water, not planet Earth. So there's lots and lots of cool things to see. As you go through these, you'll also find pictures of me or my family or my wife and I. There I am. This is at the crater in Homestead. This is could be just about any river or lake in Idaho, who knows. And this is my wife at about 110 feet in a cave diving. So yes, caves are absolutely a diving thing. But here's a few of the things that can be taught. For example, I teach ice diving. Independent diving, wreck diving is one of my favorite things in the world to do. Navigation, science, I love science, and any of my instructors will tell you that I really excel and love teaching the detail portion of it. Photo and video, wave tides and currents, marine ecology, we can teach you about sharks, we teach you about turtles, teach you to stress and rescue is a great one. We can teach you react right, how to be a CPR. We could take you all the way through into tech. So think about what you want to do. I want to see coral reefs with pretty fish that are big. I want to see sharks. I want to see wrecks. One of my favorite wrecks is off the coast of Fort Lauderdale. It's called the Lady Luck. It is a 390-foot former poop barge from New York. But it's a very cool wreck to dive. It's about 125 foot on the deck, and it is amazing to absolutely dive. They have a big seahorse at the back. They have some sharks playing poker on it. It was sunk by a casino, as you might guess. But it's really fun. It's the first time I'd ever seen a fireworm, and we'll talk about those kind of stuff later. Other instructors, David needs to get upgraded, and so does Aaron. They're both assistant instructors now, and I'm very proud that my name is on their card for that. We'll skip past that. So how we're going to do this tonight? We're going to go through what SSI calls the Diamond Diver philosophy. I'm going to give you guys some knowledge. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions to verify that knowledge and make sure you're getting what I'm putting down, right? Because I know, and my dive guides and everybody knows me will tell you, even Josh, we've been good friends for years, knows that my favorite thing is the details. I like to be at the 1 foot level when it comes to all things. So if I get too in the weeds, just raise your hand and say, hey, back it up. We're not quite there yet. I'm going to help you develop some skills to this process, and we're going to handhold through this process to make sure you're comfortable. Remember, we're going to go at your pace, not my pace. I've done all these skills a few thousand times. I think I've just about got it figured out at this point, but I realize a lot of times this is your first time. So there's second hand arm signal. If I ask you to do a skill and I'm going too fast or you're not comfortable, simply enough, I want you to put up the stop sign. And let me know what's going on. But absolutely, we can put the stop sign up at any time and go at your pace as we develop those skills. We're going to talk a lot about equipment as well, and I'm going to help you get a good understanding of how the equipment goes together, what it looks like, what its usefulness is, and how it works for you. And then finally, they say experience in the book. I'm going to give you experience diving, but I also want to give you a good experience because, as you all know, we've all tried something. I'm just going to put the hands up. Anybody ever try something, the instructor or the experience was so bloody awful that you're like, there is no way in hell I'm ever going to do that again? High school? Just kidding. What was it? What was that experience that you did other than high school? Band. One time at band camp. It's all right there in the name, right? We've all had that experience, right? And so I don't want that to be the experience. I want you to walk away with a fun experience. The dive guides, my assistant instructors, my dive guide candidates, myself, we're passionate about this. We love diving. We dive together on a regular basis. I teach a lot of classes with them, and we go out and we have a lot of fun playing and doing what we do. We do it because we love it. And so because we love it, we have to teach to be able to afford to do it. Just kidding. So that's our experience. So I'm going to give you experience, but I'm also going to hopefully give you a fun experience through the process. So next slide, please. So our process basically looks like this. We're going to start your training. We're going to do some water sessions. We're going to learn some skills and develop some ability. Review those skills. I'm going to help you increase your confidence. We're going to review those skills again, invoke some conditioned responses, more water sessions, and hopefully at the end of this, you'll become a safe diver. Now, I have a simple litmus and how I will sign your paperwork off. Anybody that knows me that knows that I don't rubber stamp anything. Yes, I do have a rubber stamp, but I don't actually just sign off for the fun of it. I have one single litmus, and this is how I know that you're ready to pass my test. If I can turn you loose with my dearest love in my life and feel safe that you both will come back safe and you won't kill the love of my life, I'm ready to sign you off. That's the only litmus that I use. There's a lot of cool skills and there's a lot of things little boxes that I'll check, but in the end, for me to sign my name on the paperwork, I have to be able to confidently say, you can dive with my daughter, either my daughters, either my sons or my wife, and I can confidently say, you both will come back in good condition no matter what happens. So that's my litmus. It's pretty simple. So class experience, if you guys would, everybody has some sort of digital phone here. I imagine even you have a digital phone. You look over 14, so I'm guessing you have some sort of computer or iPad. So if you would go land, and I want you to download the My SSI app. If you would log in and do your homework, if you guys could, sometime tomorrow, knock out most of your homework, if not all of it. It's not hard. If you really crank through it, it should take you about an hour total to get all the homework done. There's videos in there, there's tests. You will need to make sure that you've gone through and looked at every page and passed every test. Now here's the good news. There are 6 tests in the book. If you take each test 152 times, I will not know. And even if I could find out, I don't care. Take it as many times as you feel you need to understand the information. If you pass it once, fantastic, you're a superstar. You pass it after the 152nd time, fantastic, you're a superstar. I honestly won't check. I don't have a way of checking. So please go through and do that. If you would, upload a headshot. Please make sure that I can make that it looks like a human being's face. Please, I've had the person that uploaded the dog, the dolphin, the hot rod. That is not a headshot. Please upload an actual headshot. This is going to go on your certification card, and somebody in foreign land will probably look at it at some point. Participate in class. We're going to do 4 academic sessions, 4 pool sessions, and we're going to do 4 open water dives over the course of 2 days plus snorkeling. I'm going to teach you equipment assembly and water work, and at the end of this on next Wednesday, we're going to take a test. You have to pass it with an 80% or better. Good news is the multiple choice questions are very, very easy. It's the 5 essay questions that really get everybody, because you have to have 500 words or more on each essay question. So you good on that? Yeah, there's no essay. I'm just Here's the good news on the test. Make it super easy. We will actually read all the tests together, and we'll answer all the questions together. And then I will hand you the test. I will hand you an answer sheet, and I will walk out of the room and you will take the test. If you listen to my lectures, you will not fail the test. If you ignore my lectures and you do the homework, you will not fail the test. If you listen to lectures and do the homework online, you'll probably get 100%. It's not rocket science. And I have a deal that whoever gets 100%, they get a Dive Pirate sticker, as well as they get a coupon to Teton Bagels. And believe me, you want the coupon to Teton Bagels more than the sticker. But, and then my final request is please have fun, or else tell me what's going on so we can make sure your guys are having fun. This is a fun thing. You guys aren't doing this because it's punishment, right? Mom and Dad didn't say, you're going to get scuba certified, or you're going to get grounded, right? They didn't say that to you, did they? It was her idea? Nice. I like it. I dig it. She's like, this guy's weird. It's okay, I am. So next slide, please. So here's what it looks like. When you go into my SSI app, upper right-hand corner, you're going to see the settings. There's a QR code button up there. We're going to get to that when we do our open log. Here's where you log our dives. You have stats, and down at the bottom, you'll notice that you have your courses down here as well. You also get awards. So as you log dives, you get little awards. It's all about gamification as well. This is my profile from last year. So at that point, I had 1,921 log dives. So I'm somewhere north of that now. To do your headshot, simply go to personal data, scroll down at the bottom, edit profile photo. That's all there is to it. And then you can take a picture of yourself, or you can find one from your profile, whatever you like as well. Other things you want to be able to do is you're going to go into sync and settings after you've taken and done your homework on your phone. Please just scroll down to the bottom and just hit synchronize all. The app sometimes does not like to synchronize automatically. So just pop in and synchronize it, and that way I can see that you did your homework, because I can't pass you if you didn't do your homework. As you look at your homework, you'll know that it's done because it has little green lines telling you that they're done. As you download it, you can also download it with videos. The videos aren't bad. They're a little dry, but they're not bad. They're definitely, it's just reiterating everything you're going to read. So connecting with the SSI Dive Network, the advantages of the SSI digital system is there's all kinds of other cool courses in there that you can go through and read through. You can log your dives. It also has your tables. It has charts. It has everything you need to know about diving in there. By the way, this is Christmas Eve a couple years ago. That's me, my son, my daughter, and my wife. One of the happiest days of my life, and oddly enough, I mean, it was a super easy dive. I think we were like 50 feet there chasing after turtles. It's one of my top 5 dives of all time. It's not the complex dives. It's the ones that have cool memories that you tend to like the most. So course materials and standards, study the materials, manuals of the videos at home, complete the academic reviews, and do the oral sessions. By the way, this is when I first got certified here at Idaho Dive Pirates. And yes, we all start somewhere. We don't start as a tech god that I am today. We start as a big goober sitting in the water going, yes, this is so cool. So, and please don't put your mask on your forehead or call it goggles. Next slide. If you guys would, please, if you think this is awesome, go to Facebook and go to Google and give us a 5-star review. If you think I suck, put that on there. All I ask, Josh will tell you, Josh has known me for a lot of years now, that all I ask is just be honest with me. Be honest on that. If we have not earned a 5-star, don't give us a 5-star. If we have, please give that. Either way, just give us a review of what you thought. Absolutely, please do. I take criticism very easily and very well, and I just want to know. I may just ask you, hey, what could I have done to earn the other 2 stars or 3 stars? So, what's your expectation of this class? How about you? What do you expect out of this? Perfect. And one of the things we'll talk about is what happens if you don't have a dive buddy and you want to go somewhere and explore. So, we'll talk about that. Absolutely. There's been plenty of times I've solo traveled and gone diving as well. So that is absolutely a thing. Not that I'm not saying you two won't always be together, hand in hand, lockstep together, but there is that time. So we'll talk about a little bit about solo diving. How about you? What's your goal here? What's your expectation? I want to breathe underwater. I like it. It's my superpower. How about you, Caitlin? What's your goal?
That was a good one, to be able to breathe underwater. Wow.
What kind of stuff do you want to see?
I don't know. Some
Treasure. Treasure hunter. We do have in our midst, in the other side, the owner shop, Brett, was diving at a secret location in the Snake River, and he found a metal box with gold coins in it. So, and when we used to dive Firehole, when the people jumped off the jump rock, he used to find iWatches all the time. In fact, he actually traded in an old iWatch that he found for a new iWatch, and he traded an old GoPro he found for a new GoPro. So there is stuff to find. I found a mask a few weeks ago. Nikki has a really nice, I don't remember what kind of brand it is, but she has a real nice fishing rod and reel that nobody declined to claim. So there is treasure to be found. It may not be gold doubloons always, but there is treasure out there. How about you?
I want to dive in exotic locations.
Nice. How about you, Joshua? It was pretty neat diving with your girlfriend, wasn't it? That is, diving with the love of your life is an amazing experience. How about you guys? So, other than being drugged here by the child,
Technically, she didn't drag us here. We're going to go.
okay,
And so me and her have been snorkeling around the world, a couple of different places.
okay.
And then she wanted to go diving with whale sharks. So we said, we got to get Scuba certified.
But also, I have a huge fear of open water.
Okay.
This is my way of overcoming.
Okay, I dig it. I dig it. I'm right there with you. So, overcoming over water, whale sharks. Sharks. I love sharks. Sharks. I've got some pictures of sharks that'll blow you away with Nikki and I, and sharks that were so close they were crashing into us. In fact, the first one that came up in the group crashed into my kidneys about that hard. I was like, oh, he was only 10-footer. So the secret to sharks, guys, by the way, is when a shark comes towards you, if you can touch your elbows to your side and touch him, he is in your space. If you cannot touch your elbows to your sides and you reach out for him, you are in his space. Don't touch. That is the secret to sharks. They'll your space, their space. And the secret is just take 2 hands, put it on top of their head, you just push them away. So, next slide. Back. That would be me photographing some sharks. That's me again with a nice little lemon, catching some cool photos of a green shell, a little spiny lobster. There was an open hunt, so we were allowed to catch them. And that's the seahorse on the back of the Lady Luck. Plus some ice diving, and then just random other pictures. Nikki with a nice little a logger as well. What are your expectations of me? Josh, what do you expect out of me today? Today or this month or this week?
Well, I just wanted to refresh myself on everything I've already learned, because I don't dive often enough to going diving with everybody.
I dig it. What do you expect?
I expect you to teach me how to be safe underneath the water.
Safety is a paramount thing. How about you? Teach you to be safe?
Yeah, teach me to be safe.
Yay. I dig it. How about you guys? What do you expect out of me? A good, strong set of fundamentals? I dig it. Okay, I accept that. No right or wrong answer. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one. Most efficient way to get this done. I can do that. Absolutely. I'm all over that. How about you guys? What's your expectation of me?
That's how to stay safe.
No, be nervous. I got you covered. Got you covered. Absolutely. Now, we do have a deal for parents that we can guarantee to either come back with a child or maybe accidentally lose the child. Just kidding. Just kidding. I haven't lost anybody yet and don't plan on it anytime soon. Those kids were locked on, though. Oh, the kids in your class were locked on, though. They were little fishes. All right, guys. Standards of process. I'd like you guys to read this with me. Caitlin, why don't you start with the first one?
Dive within the limits of my ability.
What does that mean to you? Fair enough. Good news is I'm going to set some limits on that, and I'll give you guys a clear set of rules of engagement for diving. How about you, sweetie? Why don't you take the next one for me?
Evaluate the conditions for every dive and make sure
Perfect. What does that mean to you? Nice. I like that you threw Antarctica. I know a bunch of divers that have gone to Antarctica and talked to them. How about you, sweetheart? You've been kind of quiet for me. You want to read the next one? What does that mean to you? Dying is a bad thing. Absolutely. All right. How about you?
Respect the buddy system and
Absolutely. What do you think the advantages of the buddy system might be?
someone's keeping an eye on diving, you won't get lost.
Okay, absolutely. We'll talk a lot more about the buddy system as we go along with that. I do have a slight warning is that the buddy system underwater is kind of like going with your wife to the mall. She doesn't watch you very closely. You get when there's electronics stored in the mall, you usually get a few extra electronics, right? Or she gets extra handbags. Whatever it works out, just be aware. We're going to talk about that and make sure that you guys understand that. Josh, you want to take the next one?
Accept the responsibility for my well-being on every dive.
What does that mean to you?
I'm responsible for my own safety.
Absolutely. And how about you, big guy? Last one.
Environmentally conscious.
What does that mean? I like it. There's a simple rule of thumb we kind of live by. We take only pictures. We leave only bubbles. So we don't touch stuff. We don't pick it up. Just like that photo of me picking up the lobster. It was lobster season. They were in season. You could catch them. So other than that, don't try and ride the turtles. I did try and ride a shark one time. It doesn't work really well. True story. About 2 minutes. He wasn't impressed either. But and by the way, this is my son who just had a baby today. Yay! A little grandson. His name is Oliver Benjamin. Cutest little turd I've ever seen. About the size of a football. It's cute. But I certified my own son, so you can see. And that's Ashley, one of the dive shop owners in the background, photo bombing us. I love this photo. It was an epic, epic photo bomb. So let's jump into it. What are your concerns? What's scared? What's got you scared a little bit about diving?
I will not want to come back up.
I dig it. I like it. How about you? What's got you a little concerned? It's okay. Okay. How about you, Caitlin?
Being carried away in a current.
Sharks and current. Current is a real thing. That actually is a real thing. I've definitely fought this. By the way, this is my blushing bride, and that's a nice little silky right there. A nice little bowl coming up on me as well. What's got you scared?
Not understanding how to use my equipment and not being able to breathe and drowning.
Okay, we can work on that. Nothing scares Josh, so I won't ask Josh because
That's not true.
what's got you scared?
Well, for me, the thing I'm most still insecure about is the charts and tables. Brushing on those because and all that is important.
Absolutely. We're going to go through that in very deep depth. How about you? What's got you scared?
We're getting confident with the equipment.
So let me throw that one out there. That's the fatal and the scared is hit a couple times. The good news with diving is there's about a 40% safety margin. 40%. So you've got really good odds of there's a 40 that you're going to be able to come up safely.
That's not a mortality rate.
There's a 40% safety margin built into everything you do. So it's hard to break outside the safety margin. You have to really, really, really work to screw up the safety margin. I mean, you've got to, as an open water diver, you have to work at it to screw up the safety margin. It's literally a big safety margin. So it's like the difference between the saying on the freeway that I'm going to teach you to go 15 miles an hour, but you can go 90, right? It's going to be hard for you to get a ticket and get bad things happen. We talked about yours. You're a little open water afraid. What in specifically in open water's got you?
Well, yeah, we grew up in California, so we grew up knowing about jellyfish and sharks
Okay.
and things like that that can actually, going over the science-based things that can happen. They're definitely, that makes you think.
Perfect. So sharks, being bitten by a shark, I heard that twice. Let's run through some statistics real quick. Did you know you have twice the likelihood of being killed by a cow as you do by a shark? Statistically, that is absolutely true. But did you know you have a 10-time more likelihood of dying by a vending machine than being killed by a shark, by being bitten by a shark? Statistically, in the US, kid you not, 50 people a year are killed as a result of vending machines. How they do that, I don't know. But that's pretty impressive. There's about 5 to 10 shark bites a year.
I don't scuba dive with cows or
Yeah, they're all probably no, the shark bites happen. 2 were this last year were in Australia, 2 were in Nantucket, and then there was 1 in North Carolina that I've been tracking so far. So you're more likely to be die by a vending machine than by a shark. Now, you are 10 times more likely to be bit by somebody in New York City than you are to be bitten by a shark. Last year, 100 people were bitten by another human on a police report in New York City. Kid you not. So there's some fun statistics for you. So either you're scared, now you're less scared of sharks or more scared of New York City. I'm not sure which. But either way, sharks are definitely not something to worry about. They're big dogs. You get really excited when you get to see them, and you want to take pictures of them because they're really neat. So what does it look like to jump off a dive boat? I just happen to have a video of that. Would you play on that for me? Now, I will preface this. This was the only boat that would go out this day, so usually the boats you guys will get on will not be rocking like this. This one was rocking a lot more than normal. There was a hurricane that came up. You don't need volume. There's nothing to hear on this. But as you can see, the GoPro does a really nice job. And so what's happening is the captain's called to line them up. And so when the calls line up, you stand up and you make sure your fins are on, you're good to go. This young lady would be the dive master over here, and she has a flag that she's got as well. And that's West Palm Beach in the background, in case you're wondering where we're at. These first 2 divers are going off. They're going to go hunting. They're looking for lionfish and lobsters. Once she gets a good idea of that, she says, Captain, they're ready, line them up. And so what he'll do is he'll line them up and he'll yell from the conn tower, dive, dive, dive. He'll turn the engines off and you just do a giant stride and step off. I'm the one holding the camera. And so here I am jumping off the boat. I did a little backspin so you could see the boat as well. And here comes Nikki. Does a nice little giant stride. Usually the water is not like this. This was a rough day for the seas, but as you can see, The secret is you take a step, gravity takes care of the rest. You will get in the water. You have a nice flotation device on you that floats. You hit it, fill it full of air, and it floats, and you float very nicely. I went ahead and let the air out of my BC at this point, and now I'm just making sure you can see and video Nikki as we go down. But this is what a dive looks like. This was a 75-foot dive on a reef in a drift. Love drifts. This is the dive guide. She's holding on to the line. And in case you're wondering what that big hook on the bottom, that's a reef hook, so she can hook that onto a reef and stay in place, or leave her dive flag somewhere for a little bit so she can explore. And here comes Nikki. Now, as you might notice, as we go through, and you'll see Nikki and I have our own hand and arm signals. There's one of ours that's, are you having a good time? I love you, and everything's good, and I'm having a good time as well. Yes, we use the I love you symbol a lot. We always carry lights as well because you lose light. We'll talk about that later in the class. But we're just basically floating down, floating down. And she's like, get out of the way, stupid, you're in my way. No, just kidding. She's not really saying that, but. I think she's got her GoPro because we definitely want to get some video of this because it's definitely lots of fun. And here we come up on the seabed. This is about 60 feet right now. I think I descended just a little bit more and got to 75. This is a nice big barrel sponge. One of the big keys when you see those barrel sponges, always look down in them. Crabs like to hide in them. It's impressive how many little things will hide inside a barrel sponge. So I'm 73 feet right here. And coming up on some nice red coral coming up here. Beautiful red coral. Got some triggerfish kicking around.
Why can't you see the red until you get close to it?
And we'll go through the lighting as well. But we always carry a light because we lose all the colors. And so we have a light on our, so we can actually get the light back, or the colors back in things. A nice little goatfish kicking along. You want to jump to about halfway. There we go. Then you got some bristle sponges, some more fire coral. And as you come into these areas, you always want to make sure you look under things and around things. In this particular dive, we found a really nice 7-foot moray. I love eels. They're one of my favorites. They're nice and big, and they look really scary because they're. I like to think that they just told a dad joke and they're waiting for you to get the punchline. So, say again? They are not. No, you really got to work to piss off an eel. They've got extremely. We were in Hawaii a few months ago and doing a night dive, and they had a light that was coming up, and all these fish were around the light, right? And this moray eel was doing this really cool snake dance right in the middle of the bucket where the light was at. And he was determined he was going to get a fish, and he was like, vroom, and the fish was gone. Vroom, and the fish is over here. We watched him for probably 10 minutes, and not once did he catch a fish. It was hilarious. But he was determined. He was like, I'm going to get a fish.
They have cool teeth.
Nice. Love eels. There's a bunch of different kinds of eels out there. Morays are probably my favorite, but there we go. Here he comes. There was somebody else taking a picture, so I just came up to the side so I didn't bug them on their photo.
Ooh.
I like it. But yeah, he's probably 7 feet. And this is all with a GoPro, so.
Teeth point backwards, so when they grab something,
Yep.
they point into their mouth.
See, he just told a dad joke, and he's waiting for you to get the punchline. Yeah, definitely don't put your finger into holes. You will not be a happy camper, but they're definitely not aggressive. And he probably had no clue I was actually there until I got a little closer to him. He's like, oh, wait, dude. And we'll go ahead and leave them alone. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. But that's a nice little idea what the dive is. So we're going to talk about the total diving system. We're going to teach you about the snorkeling system, the exposure system, the delivery system, the information system, the buoyancy system, and the accessory system, and the pervert system. I'm just kidding. Santa Claus was a little bit, he was a little handsy with all the girls on our dive. This is my daughter. And I'm like, why are you carrying my daughter? I didn't quite understand that, but it was a lot of fun. That was a Christmas Eve dive we did a few years ago in 2017, and with some friends. But Santa Claus was definitely a lot of fun to dive with, and this Santa Claus was actually one heck of a diver. He would get in the middle of a large bait ball, and he had this really thing. He could do this, and the bait ball would go left, and then he would go like this, and the bait ball would go right. It was really fun to watch. I have some videos somewhere I need to pull out. But overall, the first thing we need to teach you is we're going to teach you guys the snorkeling system and what that all comprises. Mr. Chase? So the total diving system and the importance of purchasing equipment for an authorized dealer. And one of the things that you're going to find are going to get the idea of is scuba gear is a little bit more expensive than the stuff you get at Walmart. Why do you think that is? Say again? Materials, absolutely. It's going to be made with more quality material. It's going to last. So it's not that it's expensive. It's designed to last and be a better piece of equipment that's going to last you for a long period of time. Also, purchasing from an authorized dealer, there's two reasons to do that. One, you get the local guarantee and you can get it, you can try it, you can get the good recommendations with that. And if you get good gear with good recommendations and good warranty, when you go to somewhere like Yellowstone National Park, which is 3 hours from here, and something breaks, it probably won't break because it's well serviced. The other part about that is that I encourage strongly about diving gear from your local dive shop is when you buy on Amazon, you help a CEO buy a second house in the Alps, and a new Ferrari. When you buy from your local dive shop, you help keep a little girl in swim lessons. So, and that's absolutely the truth. Most of the people, the owners here have kids and they do stuff, and so you help keep a local shop alive and keep the local diving going. This was Florida, and one of the ways I dive is called side mount. I have a very bad back, so I will dive in a different kind of system called side mount. Next slide. So the mask. The mask has a couple key features to it. I'm just going to grab one from here. So as we look at a scuba mask, we're going to notice a couple things. The first one is going to be, it's going to have tempered glass. And tempered glass is reasonably important as we dive because they're going to be dealing with pressure. We want to make sure that doesn't break at 66 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet. If you're at 66 feet, by the way, you're at 4 full atmospheres of pressure, so 4 times surface level. You just don't want that to crack, right? The next thing it's going to have is going to be scuba grade silicone around, and it's going to usually have a double seal so that it will leak less than just a cheap mask. Anybody ever bought a cheap Walmart mask and gone snorkeling? How much fun was that? Yeah, it just doesn't work, right? You get about $3 worth of effort out of it. A nice scuba mask will have that scuba grade silicone on it. And then finally, the most important piece of a good scuba mask is it will have finger wells. And the finger wells will allow you to be able to pinch your nose so you're able to equalize. And equalizing your ears is going to become huge. You're going to learn about that tomorrow night. Even in our little pool, you will learn the idea that you will need to equalize. So that's the materials. That's what we're going to use it for. Again, my wife and I. So the first thing that happens in diving as we start to go down is we learn about the squeeze and the sinus. We have 4 pairs of sinuses, and they have air pockets in them. As you add pressure to that, it's going to cause pain. By the way, 5 points for anybody who can name the law that talks about equal pressure from water. Nope. It's a little bit more obscure, but Brian should be able to. Pascal's law, the Cartesian diver. So it's going to create equal pressure all the way around. It's going to cause pain. So you need to be able to equalize your ears. The other thing you need to be aware of is you have 2 big balloons in your chest. I have about 2.2 liters. Your young lady, you probably have 1.8 liters. So by the way, in noticing that she has 1.8 liters and you have 2.2 liters, when it comes to the amount of gas you're going to go through, she's going to kick your butt every single time. Just get over it. It's just not even worth arguing. It just is what it is. She's going to win. She's going to win. It's just, and for the love of God, don't even try and keep up with her because she's going to go through about half the air you guys are going to go through. She'll just, and so both the girls are going to beat you. So they're going to be, I need to go up because I'm out of air. And they're like, we're only at 10% down. What do you, so it won't be that bad, but it'll definitely be there. So be aware, the number one rule of scuba diving is, anybody know what it is? Always breathe. This is not a breath hold sport. If you want to do that breath hold crap, go somewhere else. I don't teach that. I don't know it. I don't do it. I like to be able to stay down for long periods of times. So always breathe is your number one rule. You will avoid most issues by always breathing. Jace?
Right.
But the other piece that we're going to need to be aware of is that sinus piece, that ear. Anybody ever gone over a pass and felt your ears got clogged? Anybody dove deep enough where you felt your ears and you felt that pain across your forehead? Not very much fun. That's a squeeze. It's just like going over a mountain pass. What do you do when you go over a mountain pass? Rotate your jaw. Absolutely. Wenzel, what do you do? Swallow. Absolutely. What do you do? Swallow. Absolutely. How about you? When you go over a mountain pass, how do you clear your ears? How do you do that?
Swallow while holding your breath
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. Josh, would you give me a Sprite? So, absolutely. Next slide. So, according to Dan, by the way, dan.org is your best friend as a diver. We have some pamphlets in the back. Brian would be happy to hand you out a pamphlet. They provide you dive insurance that is very generous. The top tier big dog dive insurance is about $300 a year per person. And it covers everything that you possibly could need. Trip to the chamber, the helicopter ride, time in the hospital, transfer back to the United States for your live or dead body, and full-time medical support if you have a dive accident for about $300 a year per person. It is absolutely positively worth it, and that's their biggest, nicest insurance. But they also study things because they're an insurance agency, and they discovered 89% of divers don't equalize correctly. It's a pretty big number, 89%. 29% of divers had to stay out of the water for weeks or months due to problems caused by equalizing. 6.3% of divers have gotten permanent ear damage due to problems equalizing their ears. I just had this happen last year. I had David from Blackfoot Motorsports. I don't know if you know David, but nice guy. Went out to Belize with him and his wife. They decided to get do a quickie certified. They didn't talk about clearing their ears. He ended up popping his eardrum and being forced to stay out of the water for 6 months. It absolutely happens. So here's what I've got for you. Here's 6 better ways to equalize your ears. The first and most important, and the one that's going to be on the test, is the Valsalva method. Pinch your ears, or pinch your nose, close your mouth, and forcefully but gently bear down and hold this for 10 to 15 seconds. Now I want to reiterate that last part, 10 to 15 seconds, because that's the piece that most people miss. Now, as you do that, I would encourage you to look up. So if you, I'll just, for my sake, look up, pinch your nose, and blow out forcefully but gently, and count to 15 for me. Did everybody's ears pop? Pretty straightforward? Absolutely. That is the most common way to clear your ears. Forcefully but gently, look up, 10 to 15 seconds. Generally, if you count to 15, you're going to get there. Just be patient with yourself. Now, what happens if I'm descending and I start to feel pain and I'm doing that and nothing happens? What should I do? Josh says ascend. How far? Yeah, just ascend. Don't come to the surface, but ascend until the pain reduces. The good news is your body is about equilibrium. It wants to be equal with everything around it. If you come up to that higher surface and you start to clear again, the nice thing is your body will go into equilibrium. You actually don't need to clear your ears to descend. If you can descend slowly enough, your ears will clear by themselves. But that's pretty slow, right? So make sure you take that time. Now, when should you start to clear your ears? Immediately upon descent. That's a good job. Give me 5. Okay. You yelled it, he said it, you both get a 5. So immediately upon descent, as soon as your head starts below the water, you should be trying to clear your ears. Absolutely. Now, if that doesn't work for you, here's 5 more ways to do it. The Tonby is pinch your nose and swallow. I heard that one. The Lowry is pinch your nose, blow and swallow. The Edmonds technique, pinch your nose, blow and push your lower jaw forward. It makes you look like a lizard. It's kind of fun. Fresnel is pinch your nose and make the sound of the K. Caw-caw, caw-caw. It's kind of fun to do underwater. There is a skill that I do where I ask you to make a motorboat sound. So there is sounds underwater. And the voluntary tubal opening, which tense your throat, push your jaws forward. It sounds like kind of what you're doing. So don't be afraid. Immediately upon descent. It's huge. Now, again, I want to reiterate, the number 1 rule in scuba diving is always breathe as you're doing this as well. In and out, in and out, in and out. We do this all the time, right? So make sure you're always breathing. Now, bystanders, I have to say this 47 times. Good news, I've said it twice, so I have said it 45 more times, right? Just kidding. Next slide. Now, when should you start to equalize again? Immediately upon descent. So quiz time. Sinus squeeze can be prevented by David, what's the answer? A little bit of a trick question. The Valsalva, it absolutely will clear your ears, but to prevent ear squeeze, the key in this one is can be prevented by don't dive with the cold. I can tell you that diving with the cold is not the best thing, and as an instructor, we do this all the time. This last weekend, we were doing some diving for some deep diving, and I absolutely had a cold, and I got the opportunity to clear my ears a lot. Trying to get through this. Even after the high dose of Sudafed and Mucinex, it's still about every 4 feet. I was constantly clearing my ears. But it is. So primary sex on squeeze, equipment related. One of the things that does happen is as you get deeper, the air pressure gets less. And so you get things called squeeze. And that's what's happening inside your head and inside your sinuses or inside your lungs if you hold your breath. But there's another air space that we're dealing with. Anybody want to guess where that air space is? With your mask? It absolutely happens. I went on a dive with a young lady who claimed more experience than she actually had. We were doing a 130-foot dive off the backside of Molokini. We went down, and she decided to not add air to her mask. How do you add air to your mask? Watch your nose. It's pretty straightforward. Most of us do it naturally. Didn't do that. She actually burst some blood vessels in her eye. So about every 3rd or 4th breath, don't be afraid, breathe out your nose. And there's 2 reasons for this. First, it'll reduce the amount of pressure on your mask, and it won't suck to your face like it's one of those aliens, right, try to get you. But it'll also help push the water out of your mask at the same time. So, pro tip, it's not in the book. By the way, I take a lot of pride in about 50% of what is in the book is what I will teach you. About 50% of what I will teach you will not be in the book. So that's one of my pro tips for the day is breathe out your nose about every 3rd or 4th breath, and it'll help clear your mask. So next slide, please. So the first sign and symptom of sinus squeeze is usually who's got it for me? C. Who said that? Right on. It's exactly a sharp pain, wedging, and sensation above the eyes. By the way, these, well, I'm just going to say, they actually are actual honest-to-goodness test questions. So as long as you're paying attention to these will actually be actual test questions. Now, during normal diving activities, divers should never exceed an ascent rate faster than how fast? As we're sending in the water column. How fast? I think I heard something. Huh? 30 feet per minute. Now, who wants to take a field trip with me? Everybody take a field trip with me. Come on down. Just everybody stop at this little area right here. Here's your line. Come on down, don't be shy. Plenty of room for everybody. Come on down. So, if this was our line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About here is 30 feet from the counter. What I need for you all to do is from there to here, make it from there to there, here, in more than 60 seconds. You guys ready? You guys ready? Go ahead and get online, set, and go. More than 60 seconds. More than. So you both have the bends. More than 60 seconds. That's the first time the girls have done that. Usually. And 60 seconds. That was 60 seconds. 30 feet in 60 seconds. So 30 feet for every minute is the fastest that you can send, or you should ascend in the water column. Pretty slow?
It's a lot harder to tell.
And it is, absolutely is. So there's some secrets that we'll talk about on how to measure that. Computer is the easiest to be able to do that, but let's go ahead and head back in.
I got a question about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a couple entry level, like the Mars pucks. Can you help us set them up?
Absolutely.
Go in class?
Yeah, I should be able to. I don't think I've never used one, but I'm sure it shouldn't be that hard. They're all pretty basic. I'm right there with you. Thus,
He's doing really well though.
all right, guys, the snorkel is the next piece. Brian, would you grab me a snorkel, please? So there's 3 basic kinds of snorkels out there that you have the opportunity to use. The first one is a J-tube. You get those at Walmart. They cost about $3.99, and they're not worth that. It is a waste of plastic and a waste of your money completely. The bad thing about J-tube is once it is underwater, it fills completely up. So if this whole tube were to be filled with water, how hard is it going to be at the bottom of your breath to exhale and get all that water out of your system, out of it? Pretty hard? Pain in the you know what. The other 2 kinds of snorkels, there is a semi-dry and a dry snorkel. This is a semi-dry snorkel. And what that means is it has a float at the top. So as you're breathing along and you go under the water, the flap will catch. It won't let water into the tube, or as much water. It'll let a little bit. The advantage is because there's only a little bit of water, when you come back up and it pops back up, it's pretty easy to clear. And the last piece is called a full dry snorkel. Not only does it have a nice flapper at the top, but it also will have an exhaust valve at the bottom, so that it will make it a lot easier for that little bit of water that gets in there to blow out, because it'll blow out the bottom and the top simultaneously. So you guys will all be required to have a snorkel for the class, because I will be certifying you guys in snorkeling. So next slide, please. The final piece of your snorkeling system is going to be the fins. There's a lot of different kinds of fins out there. This particular type is called split fins. Go ahead and pitch that over to me. They're a nice way to go, great for beginning divers to intermediate divers. They are wonderful because it is like the difference between driving a 85 Ford Focus to Salt Lake versus a Cadillac Escalade. They will both get you there, yeah, we'll get into it in a minute. they will both get you there, but the Escalade is a lot more comfortable. What this does is it has a lot more surface on it. Psst. David. So it has a lot more surface area on it to catch the water for you, so you're able to fin a lot more easily. Now, high power mode and high speed mode, it does not have because it is a lot more flimsy. But for your mid-speed mode and your comfort dive for long swims, for example, when we go to Yellowstone Lake and we do that long 1,200-foot swim out to the spires, this is a wonderful, wonderful fin to have. Nice, easy kick, easy way to go. There are a lot of different kinds of fins out there. There's ones with bridges, ones without splits down the middle of them that catch the water in different ways. But the harder they are to fin. Now, fins have two purposes. Anybody want to guess what the first purpose is? Propulsion. Maximize propulsion and minimize effort. How much faster are you able to swim with a set of fins versus your bare foot? So that might be a test question, by the way. Maximize effort, minimize propulsion. Now, fins come in two different flavors as well. The first one is a boot fin. I highly encourage. I don't like having bare feet anywhere I go. So having a basic boot is wonderful. And as Nikki will tell you, stepping on a sea urchin in Hawaii is not fun. I'm not saying she has personal experience, but I can tell you that she does have personal experience there. And barely got, from 3-4 months ago, she barely got some of the pieces of that nice urchin out of her toe just the other day. So they stay with you for time. So having a nice boot fin protects you from hot sand, hot coral, and will help protect you from things like sea urchins. Sea urchins are not your friend. The other style is absolutely a foot fin. I do not like having my bare feet on the deck of a boat. I just have a weird thing about that, so I always wear a boot fin, but you can absolutely get them. They have no thermal protection whatsoever at all, and so you will, if you're going to dive a foot fin at Ryrie when we go out on the 14th and 15th, you will not be as happy camper as you would be if you were in a boot fin. So definitely a lot of options out there for you as well. This is just one style. I've dove the split fins for years. I've got, I think I've got 3 or 4 sets of fins myself. Each one has a different purpose. So next, the other thing about it is anybody like being cold in the water? No, being cold sucks. I do dive and teach ice. This is Nikki and I ice diving at 8,600 foot down in Utah. It is an amazing experience, but it's all about the thermal protection. So as you got to go through and start doing this kind of stuff, you want to think thermal protection. Even in 80-degree water, I still wear a beanie and a 3mm wetsuit and gloves and boots. I know for me that I get cold. I do not, it's going to sound weird, but I hate being cold more than anything else in this world. And yes, I teach ice diving. There's a lot of dichotomy there. I get it. But I'm also in a dry suit. I've got heated undergarments. It's all kinds of cool stuff like that. So usually the people that aren't ice diving are colder than I am because I've got all kinds of cool stuff and I prepare and dress accordingly. But little things like making sure you add a hood. If you can keep your hands, head, and feet warm, the rest of your body will stay a lot warmer. And it's crazy how much more that will. So I encourage gloves on every dive. Just to keep yourself protected as well. And even if you're diving Belize, we did Honduras. I dove a 3mm wetsuit the entire time with boots and gloves in Honduras. So I always do it, and it's something I always encourage. Next slide. The next piece of that is wetsuits. You can certainly start with something as small as a shorty. Shorties are good for that warm water diving, that 80 to 85 degree water. They're okay. I still dive at 3mm, and they say 70 to 80 degree water. I'm not sure about the 70 degree water. We were down in diving some caves in Florida, and I was at a 5mm. The water was a constant 72 degrees, no matter where you're at in the cave. You're 110 feet or you're at 5 feet, it was 72 degrees because it's from a flow from a spring. I dove a 5mm, and I was thankful for it because day 3, I was starting to get a little on the, oh, it's definitely a little chilly. As you get a little colder, you're going to move up to 5mm, eventually to a 7mm. This is actually a semi-dry. Now, the difference between a semi-dry and a wetsuit is pretty straightforward. It's the amount of flush that's allowed to come through the wetsuit. So the semi-dry will seal up the wrists, the neck, and the ankles better. And when I wear my semi-dry out at Ryrie, for example, it's about 3 or 4 minutes before I feel water actually make it in. And then your final cavalcade of values here. is a dry suit. And the cool thing with a dry suit is there's been a lot of times I've gone diving after work or on the weekends, and I'll dress like this, put an undergarment on, and then put my dry suit on. It's very James Bond. I could wear a tuxedo under my dry suit and then get out, go to somewhere. I'm not sure. But you stay completely dry underneath. And it's the way it keeps you warm is it adds a thermal layer of air between you and the water. All right, delivery systems. Who is ready? I've been talking for an hour. Who would like to take a 5-minute break? Little potty break, little drink. Take a 5-minute break? Go ahead and stop that.